salary alone based on that credential. And that's just a start. So we know that the trajectory is real, and that's why education of our people is so important. Also, as we pitch Michigan, as we grow our economy, as we look to investment to come to Michigan or stay within Michigan, the skills of our workforce is the very first question anyone asks. Much more important than anything else they raise, which they want to talk about utility costs, they want to talk about tax structure, et cetera. The first and most important question is skills attainment, and that's why part of this budget is something that we'll continue to expand on the work we've done the last 5 years, and I think this is a groundbreaking opportunity for us.
When it comes to the floor provision for state-required mixed payments, do you think that there will need to be a change in statute to lift that floor, or do you think it's automatically going to get lifted?
I'm going to defer to the budget office on that one.
Yes, the FY25 budget does include a request to have statutory change to the floor. We've met our obligation early, and we want to use those dollars to invest, as the governor said, and we presented this morning to invest in our youngest resource, in our kids, and make sure that they have the skills and the resources and services to be successful from birth on. So, yes.
Well, so every budget I've introduced, that's always one of the takeaways. When I was a legislator, that was always one of my takeaways when a governor presented the budget. So we're just starting the process. We've put a vision that really is about lowering people's costs, expanding and growing our economy, and ensuring greater outcomes for our kids and our skills attainment. That's what's centering this work. As everyone's going to dig into all the details here, and the work will get started on the legislative side, but we've been working on this for 5 months. We are confident in the choices that were made will help us achieve those goals, lowering people's costs, growing our economy, improving skills attainment and outcomes for our kids. So I will always negotiate with the legislature, regardless of whether it's Republican controlled or Democratic controlled. That's my job. I've started the process, and we'll go from there. But I'm not going to say, here's this or that right now. They haven't even had an opportunity to read the whole budget yet. So there'll be plenty of time for those kind of conversations in the coming months.
Governor, you called this a return to normal. The funding in the budget total $80.7 billion is still 55% more than the last budget pre-pandemic. The general fund is about 40% more. It should be coming down in some years when returning to normal, or is this about what we expect?
Well, I think that every household knows that inflation has meant, everything's more expensive, right? And that's what happens over time. We've been fortunate to be able to put Michigan's fiscal house in a much stronger position, paying down liabilities, debt, whatever you want to call it, paying down $18 billion, that's a big deal. And getting this budget done, we could be in a position where we can say we've paid down $21 billion of debt. Our credit rating's been upgraded over the last few years. We are in a position where we've got historic highs in our state general fund rainy day fund, but also created a school rainy day fund and gave $1 billion of tax cuts to Michigan residents. And I proposed a Michigan caregiver tax credit. I mean, there's a lot of ways that this budget really is focused on making investments that lower people's costs. And so when we do that, and we do it right, every person in the state benefits from that.
Governor, one of the criticisms as the board was about the housing funding, and that it wasn't really enough to address the actual shortfall in housing needs. It was more of a showpiece as opposed to a practical fix. How do you respond to that?
Well, I think that anyone who's even casually been observing what's happened over the last 50 years knows that most of our housing stock is very old. We, like every other state in the country, need more affordable housing. There's just not enough housing, and it is important that we are building in earnest. That's why I've said, build, baby, build. That's going to be the focus. $1.4 billion is 10 times more than what we were putting into housing just 10 years ago. So this crisis didn't happen overnight, but we are, I think, the first administration that is really going to move the needle on this front. And it helps every community. You know, when I am in Benton Harbor touring a new facility that Whirlpool was a big part of making come to fruition, when I'm up north working with Habitat for Humanity in conjunction with the state of Michigan, this is how we have creative solutions that meet the needs, the unique needs in different communities across the state. There's a lot of work that needs to be done here, and any person that in the legislature who says, let's do more, I mean, come on, let's work together and make sure that we realize all the potential in front of us.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
So I do think the housing is an interesting example of the fact that we have a role to play in making sure we can deal with our challenge with affordable housing and accessible housing in Michigan. When we made previous investments in affordable housing to the tune of $100 million in previous budgets, we thought that that would draw down $480 million roughly in private investment. And so we think that this foundation of $1.4 million also lays a foundation to leverage other private investment that we expect to see more of in the state of Michigan to build all kinds of housing, to rehabilitate all kinds of housing. So we are not the only ones who are going to solve this problem. We cannot solve this problem alone, but we can solve it together. And we think this is an invitation for more people to invest in housing solutions in Michigan that are going to work for Michigan families.
Governor, I think NDOT is coming out and last time with the Michigan funding. When that's out in 2026 and we're facing a $2.4 billion commitment, what's the plan for generating revenue?
Well, I think that, let me recognize first that I think we've done an incredible amount of work, and Michiganders know this because they see the orange barrels all over the state. And certainly with the freeze and thaw, we're all cognizant that there is more good work to do in this space. Bringing this $700 million into the fold right now helps us do the planning and get ready to continue this work. We've got a lot more good work to do in this space. I don't believe that, you know, we're gonna slow down for even a second. So getting these dollars in combination with the federal dollars, I think is gonna put us in a stronger position, but that's an ongoing conversation. Mhm. No.
No, that's out of the question.
I'm not proposing any gas tax, I can tell you that right now. My education expert here.
No, we're still efforting those numbers. In terms of the total number, we see a focus on the retaining current workers and seeing significant benefits there. But given the newness of this program, I think that time will tell how many more childcare workers will be attracted to this field because of this opportunity. But I think we'll see the biggest benefit early on with retaining workers that are already in the workforce.
Can you talk about the decision not to make transit a bigger priority in this budget, given the current cost of living and
So the Growing Michigan Together Council put together a lot of different pieces that would be a part of a long-term blueprint to grow our population and our economy. We looked at a lot of the recommendations that they made, and they're reflected in a lot of the education work, for instance, that we've built into this budget. There is increased dollars that we would be putting into transit in terms of additional things that maybe we should be looking to. Welcome the conversation with the legislature. Obviously, the Growing Michigan Together Council presented their work to them as well, and so I do think that there's going to be continued work. But we didn't get here overnight, and this plan is one that we wanted to get done so that my administration and the current legislature, as well as future administrations and legislatures, can continue to take pieces out of that as we want to make Michigan a place where talent stays or comes to and makes their lives here, and that's, I think, an important part of it. But we do have more resources for transit in this budget.
A big focus in this budget about funding work so we can prepare our youth for the workforce. How does some of this funding translate into a creation of jobs to make room for the folks who are preparing and coming here to make their lives here?
Well, the great thing right now is that unemployment is at a low number. We are seeing take-home pay going up. We know that when we make investments in our skills, that we will have more people that can take on the good-paying jobs that are currently available. as we aim to make sure that additional investment comes into Michigan, good paying jobs, not jobs you scrape by, you work full-time and just scrape by, but good paying jobs you can raise a family on. All of these are important pieces, making sure that people have housing, ensuring that their kids have good school opportunities, daycare, leveling barriers to community college beyond high school. All of these, I think, are critical ingredients to our overall success in this space. But I think that what we are seeing and what we're capable of right now gives me great confidence and optimism as we look to an evolving economy and the high quality of life we offer and the low cost of living. These are tremendous strengths for the state of Michigan, and getting these fundamental rights are crucial to our success.
Your budget proposal sees a more than 70% drop in funding for the Michigan Department of Education. Obviously, you have mileage now. What is the point of the Michigan Department of Education now in this mileage era?
Well, we know that the economy has evolved. We know that we've got to be citizens who are lifelong learners. We know that it starts with our youngest Michiganders. It starts prenatal, actually, and goes throughout the course of a lifetime. The way that state government was organized, you had pieces of the continuum in different departments and agencies, and it was cumbersome and not particularly efficient. The State Department of Education still has an important role, but ensuring that we are really coordinated in an effort to upskill our population over the course of their lives and level barriers to those skills really, I think, necessitated a new kind of structure in state government. I appreciate the work that the State Department of Education does. They continue to be an important part of our success in this realm, but this was really motivated by recognizing that an antiquated, disparate structure doesn't serve any of our goals, and that's true for the department as well.
Governor, could you describe this help to increase funding to protect major events like the Super Bowl for the state? Is that something you've had conversations with them about? Is that something you see happening?
I think as we get into the budget and start negotiating with the legislature, that a lot of different unique geographic priorities will always be a part of the conversation. Detroit's success is absolutely linked with Michigan's success. Get the NFL draft, for instance, is something that's going to be great for the whole state of Michigan. So I'm certainly open to having those conversations as the budget progresses. Michigan's fiscal house is strong, and we're making investments in the dinner table issues to make people's lives more manageable and ensure every person has a path to prosperity in the state of Michigan. And I think this budget is a great way to make sure that that's a reality for all Michiganders. All right, thanks.